and it'll send me an invitation.
All right. Thanks, Arlene. All right. Are y'all seeing a white slide with a blue top on it? Can anybody tell me that? So I appear,
Yes.
I think okay, good. So I'm trying to present that. Yes. Okay, very good. Thank you. So the orientation is broken into three parts, and we're only going to sort of go over the first two. The third part just covers the policies that are at the back of your syllabus, and so I don't want to spend a bunch of time doing that. So instead, I'm going to cover sort of the important parts of the syllabus, talk about how you make a grade in this class, and then I'm going to show you Blackboard and show you how we have Blackboard set up. And as I said, if you have a question at any point, you can unmute and ask, or you can wait until the end of the section, and then I'll open it up for for questions to see if anybody has any questions at that point. Okay. So let me see if if my slideshow's working. All right. So if you open up the syllabus that's at the very first link on the left-hand side in Blackboard, and you're in my class, this is what you would see at the top of my syllabus, and it talks about what the section number and what the synonym is. It tells you what my email address is, and it tells you that we're going to hold live Google meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1 to 2:40. And we realize some of you work or you have kids or whatever's going on, and you may not be able to be at the live Google Meet. So it's our intention that if we do anything instructional at that point, we'll record those and we'll post those in Blackboard so you can watch those. I think the best thing, if you can attend those meetings, I think that's the best way to go. You can also, for office hours, you can email me to set up a Google meeting on Mondays and Wednesdays between 1 and 2:30. These are just regular office hours here. And then this is my office phone number, but of course I'm not in the office right now, so that's not going to work unless I go to the office and check my messages. So I'm working from home too, just like you guys are. I want to point out to you that the estimated time commitment for this class, and I'm going to get a pointer going here, use a highlighter. Let me change the ink color to green, it's a little more visible. The estimated time commitment for most students for this course, because we're doing it in 12 weeks, is about 6 to 8 hours per week. And that would include those live online meetings if you attended those meetings. So this course, to do it right, it is kind of a commitment of time, just like any of our other courses are. Some of you may be able to do it quicker than that. Some may require more than that. I think the important thing from my experience with this course is not to wait until like week 10 and try to put in 80 hours in week 10, okay? It's best to spread it out. And so we're going to help you do that by the way that we have the assignments set up. We'll have a couple of assignments that you'll get tonight, and those will be due on September the 11th. So 2 weeks from today, you'll have an assignment due. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. All right, so if you're in Arlene's class, then your section number and your synonym are different, and you can see Arlene's office hours by clicking on the syllabus link in Blackboard. The prerequisites are this. The course is only open to students who have completed the majority of the courses in their major before you graduate. And so, for example, if you are a civil major and you've only taken 3 civil classes, this is probably not the time to be in the portfolio class. The best time to be in the portfolio class would be after you've taken all of the civil courses. That way you can use all of the work and all those projects that you created in all of the civil courses, and you can build a great portfolio. If you've only taken a few of the courses of your major, that's not a great setup for this class, and we would encourage you to withdraw and get your money back as much as you can at this point. I sent out a warning message a couple of weeks ago saying, you need to be pretty far along in your program here before you take this course. And in fact, one of the things we offer to do for people that are in doing a certificate, this course is required in some of the certificates. But if we know you're going to go on to do an associate degree, we may let you postpone taking the portfolio for the certificate until you're near the end of your degree. And so what we would do is just substitute another course in your major for the portfolio when you apply for your certificate. That way you'll have more work done. Now, another thing that's not a great setup for success in this course is if you're enrolled in the last 3 or 4 advanced courses for your degree, so you don't even have that work done yet to put it into your portfolio. That's not a good setup, because you need to have the work so you can be working on it through the semester and getting it in the shape that you want it to be for your portfolio. And so if you're taking a course and you're not going to get all that work back until, week 11 or week 12, it's going to be too late to put it into your portfolio, at least to show us. Okay, so I'm just trying to warn everybody about that what's the best case is that you've already taken almost everything. You already have all those drawings. Now, we've been saving all those drawings over on the server at ACC, and so one of the links in Blackboard you're going to see is a discussion of how to download your work from ACC, and actually you're going to go through some of our tech support guys probably to do that. And we have one of those guys online right now. He's enrolled for this class, and that's Ethan. And so I'll be working with Ethan, and if we have any problems or you guys have any problems, let me know. And we'll try to get all of your work that you saved on our servers downloaded so you can use it to put into your portfolios. Okay. The important dates for the course are listed in the syllabus, and of course today is this one here, the mandatory orientation. On September 11th, your first draft of your resume and a portfolio outline are due, and we'll get into the specifics of that a little bit more in a second. There will be a midterm portfolio review, and we'll set up appointments for that, and those actually occur before the midterm. We just couldn't think of a better name for that, I guess. So the midterm portfolio review will be happening the week of September the 21st through the 25th. Now, at the midterm, we don't expect you to have a completed portfolio, but what we expect you to have done at that point is to have taken what you said you were going to put into your portfolio that you noted in your portfolio outline, and that you started to download that work and start to build it into a PDF of some sort, that you're starting to flesh out your portfolio. So when you see us at the midterm portfolio review, we want to see sort of a draft of your portfolio at that point. And it won't be in finished shape, but the thing is, we want to do that earlier so that then you're going to have more time to work on getting your portfolio perfect and get it into the final shape that you'll present to us. And so the final portfolio presentation is November the 2nd through the 6th. And the reason we give those dates spread out like that is that we'll actually send out a Google Doc, and each of you will sign up for a time to attend your portfolio review, because the reviews will be done online. Now, when we teach this on campus face-to-face, we do the same thing. We set appointments with the students, and we meet with them face-to-face online during the time that's set up. Now, some of you may be getting ready to graduate or wanting to graduate in December, and you'll have all your courses done for that. And I want to point out to you that October 4th is the last day you can apply for graduation. And to apply for graduation, you just need to go to ACC's website, type in graduation into the little search window, and it will take you to the graduation page, and it will tell you what you need to do in order to apply to get your associate degree or certificate. Now, one of the things ACC is trying to do on certificates is to give you a certificate as soon as you finished all the courses for it, whether you ask for it or not. But sometimes they miss people on that. So I would recommend applying for your certificate. And remember, you need to get your certificate before you get an associate degree. You can't get a certificate. Well, let's say it's in civil, for example. If you get the civil associate's degree, the next semester you can't come in and apply for the civil certificate. They won't give it to you. Okay, it would have to be in a completely different field. So the instructional methodology, this is a 100% online course. And of course, you're in the mandatory online orientation meeting. We will conduct those live online meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Whenever possible, videos will be recorded and posted to Blackboard for students who weren't able to attend. My email address is douglas@austincc.edu, and Erlene's is eclark2@austincc.edu. And of course, all that's available in Blackboard. We have a contact page for both of us at our Blackboard shells. Oh, one other thing I wanted to tell you, hopefully you'll find this encouraging. I taught this class this summer in this same format where it was totally online, and that was the first time the course had ever been completely online. It's always been taught as a hybrid where it was half online and half face-to-face. And this summer I had 9 students enrolled in the class, and all of them completed the course, and we were doing it in 10 weeks instead of 12 weeks. So they had to work a little faster and put in more time each week, but they were all successful. So I think that's encouraging, and hopefully it'll encourage you a little bit that, this is possible to do in 12 weeks and do a good job. So the technology requirements, since you're working for home, you need to be able to open AutoCAD files, Revit files, Inventor, SolidWorks, Creo, Mastercam, whatever it was that you worked with, you need to be able to open those files. Now, you cannot open Cadence Virtuoso and Cadence Allegro at home because those are not available for download for students. And so if you're in this course and you're an IC layout major, I don't know what we're going to have to do. We'll try to work something out and try to get you on campus a little bit, or get Congdo or somebody to help you with that. You would also have to have a course Civil 3D if you're a civil student. And then in addition to that, at the very least, you should have PowerPoint. Adobe Illustrator could be good. It's not required, but you definitely should have PowerPoint. And then you'll need a snipping tool of some sort. And of course, most Windows programs are, they have a snipping tool built into them. I use something that's fancier than the snipping tool. It's called Snagit, but you don't have to have that. The snipping tool will work fine. So you need, we actually usually build the portfolios in PowerPoint, but we capture those a lot of times from a PDF of the drawing file, and that's where we snip things out. So you also need access to a PDF reader, and so if you wanted to download the Acrobat Reader, one of the things that we were able to do is get students in this class access to the Adobe Creative Cloud, and I have a link for all of this in Blackboard. And the only charge for the Adobe Creative Cloud is $10 for students enrolled in this class. So it's $10 for the semester. And so anyway, if you have questions about that, let me know. Of course, you need internet access, and we've got some stuff in here about doing this on a Mac, but you guys have been in our program for a long time, and you're probably already figured out, you either have a PC or you've got your Mac set up the right way. All right, so that's the technology requirements. Accessing projects from past semesters. As I said, I talked a little bit about that, and that may even change as we go into this. I'm going to leave that to our tech support guys, and if there's anything that we need to do differently, I will let you know, and that's also posted. The last thing I got is posted at Blackboard, and it says downloading your files from, or accessing your CAD files from previous semesters. There's a link in Blackboard for that. All right. And you don't need to do that right away, because you're going to be working on some other things at first, like just a portfolio outline. Once you start your midterm portfolio, that's when you'll need to start downloading files that you've created. All right, there is no textbook. Everything that you need is going to be provided in Blackboard. And because we're doing this online, your finished product is going to be a PDF, and you're going to send us a PDF that is set up for a 17 by 11 sheet size. And so you don't have to create a physical portfolio for this class. If you want to, though, you can do that. And if we were doing this face-to-face, you would actually create a PDF portfolio and a physical portfolio. And so what we recommend is the iToya art Profolio. It's 11 by 17, and it's usually available at Jerry's Artorama and or Hobby Lobby, or you can order it online. And so this is an example of one, and they make small ones and medium-sized ones. And like I said, you should get the 17 by 11 size, because most of our drawings that you've made in our program would translate to that 17 by 11 pretty well. And if you're making a physical portfolio, you have this, what we call spine art right here. When you buy the portfolio, it has this thing that says the brand name on it. And there's a little plastic sleeve, and you pull that out and you make your own sleeve and slide it down in there. And we just call that making new spine art. And that looks a lot better when you walk into a job interview with your portfolio if you have your spine art filled out. And so what it looks like here is, some of your text is facing this way and some of your text is facing that way. So what's actually on the spine might be that part right there. And then the text on the right-hand side would face down to this way, and on the back side would face down in the opposite direction. So we can help you with that later on if that's something you're interested in. The only way that Arlene and I are supposed to communicate with you in the course is through ACC email. And so in sending out the invitations to today's orientation, there were a couple of people who I didn't have your ACC email yet, so I sent it to a personal email that I had from you. But from now on, the only way we'll be sending email will be through ACC. So make sure that you're checking your ACC email. All right. And I'm sure you're old hands at setting up Blackboard and ACC email, so I just stuck this slide in. As I said, everything you're going to get from this class is going to come out of Blackboard. So you need to be checking into Blackboard and also checking your email frequently in this course. So after you log in and you're looking in Blackboard, you're going to see right over here the modules for this class. And so module 1 focuses on creating a CAD portfolio, and 2 on creating a CAD resume. So you're actually going to be working in both of those in the next couple of weeks, because you're going to be writing a resume and you're also going to be creating an outline right here. Okay, so we call this the left navigation menu. And so when you log into Blackboard, on the left-hand side, you're going to see this dark blue background with the links that are listed here. Okay. Now, I made this slide because I wanted to try to point out how we do the grading in here. It's actually based on a point system, and so 90 to 100 points, if you get that, is an A. 80 to 89 is a B, and 70 to 79 is a C. Now, let me just point something out to you. If all you do in the class is create a portfolio and present it to us and we accept it, that is, we think it meets the standard for a professional quality portfolio, we will give you a C in the course, and you are required to earn a C in the course in order to graduate. So if your degree plan says that you have to take 1491, and every one of our degree plans says that you do, then you have to make at least a C in this class, which means that you created a professional quality portfolio and it was accepted by the faculty. All right. So I'm going to circle right over here that it says your portfolio 70 points. Now, I want you to look right here. It says insert your degree or certificate plan here. So let's say you are an architectural student. You would have all of the courses that an architecture student would have taken, an architectural CAD student would have taken. And what it says right here is everything you will develop in this course has its roots in the courses you have taken in earning your award. So being able to restore all those drawing files from all those courses, and like I said, if you're a civil student, it will be a bunch of civil courses. If you're architectural CAD, it'll be a bunch of architecture courses and so on like that. So 70 points is going to come out of your ability to restore the drawing files that you created in your major. Then writing a resume, which is very important, so that you can apply for jobs and things, that is worth 7.5 points. So between the 70 points and the resume, you're still in the C range when you look at what your point range is right here. But then if you create references and we accept your references, we give you 7.5 more points. So between the 70 points you got here and the 7.5 you earned here by your resume and the 7.5 points by writing your references, you have 85 points at that point, and you have earned enough points for a B. All right. And so the final thing for you guys who would like to make an A in the course is we have a module on preparing for a job interview. And if you participate in the options inside the interview preparation module, you have the option to earn from 7.5 points up to 15 points. The point is, if you earn the 7.5 points and you've also earned the 85 points between these two guys here and the portfolio, you'll have 92.5 points and you would qualify for an A. So if you earn the whole 15 points, you'll make 100 points in the class and you would also qualify for an A. All right. So the minimum is the portfolio. The B is the resume and the references, and the A is both of those things plus the interview preparation. And all of those are covered in Blackboard, and this is the kind of stuff we talk about at our meetings that we have when we meet with you guys online. So we talk about the C in depth in the syllabus. And I want to point out how you get that 70 points. You'll get 25 points for participating in the midterm portfolio review. So at that point in the grade book, when you look in Blackboard, you're going to see that you have 25 points. So it tells you kind of what you need to have in here. And again, you can read this in the syllabus. It says attendance at the midterm portfolio review is mandatory, and if you fail to attend, you may be dropped from the course. All right. Following the midterm, we have that final review, and that will come in week 11 this semester because this is a 12-week class. If we accept your portfolio at the final portfolio review in week 11, we will give you an additional 45 points, and together with the 25 points you earned up here, you will have 70 points, and you can make a C in the class, and you can qualify to get your associate degree at that point. All right. So that's how how you'll earn the total of the 70 points. Earning a B, as I said, 7.5 points of the B is your resume, which has to be accepted by your professor, and 7.5 points are your references. Now, these are professional references that you put together for a job interview. So let's say you go out and you do a great job in your interview. Your employer, the potential employer, says, "Can you provide me with references? I want to call and check on you, check on your background, see what people say about you." Well, that's what your references are. And the references for a CAD job are people who know how well you can use CAD. All right, so it's okay if you have some personal references in there, but it's not near as powerful to have a personal reference versus somebody like, let's say, a former instructor in the CAD program here at ACC who could say, "Oh yeah, this guy really good with CAD, really fast, dependable," all that sort of stuff. So just to point out to you that the first draft of your resume is due on September the 11th at 5 o'clock. And what we want you to send us, so the people in Erlene's class will send a Word document to Erlene. The people in my class will send a Word document to me. We want your resume written as a Word document because we are going to open it up in Word and we're going to run review. We're going to run spell check and grammar check. That's probably the first thing we'll do. So I highly recommend that you run spell check and grammar check before you send it to me or to Erlene. All right. Due on the same day at 5 o'clock is your portfolio outline. So that's 2 weeks. So if you need to write that down, write it down, because of course I'll follow up with an email. I'm sure Erlene will follow up with email about what's due and all that. So your references are not due until later, but your resume you need to get to work on. And then your portfolio outline you need to get to work on. Earning an A, I said that those involve job interviewing. So ACC has some job interviewing workshops that are available for free, and we have a full module on that, on how you get set up with an ACC job interviewing workshop. They actually use a product called Big Interview, and you go in and you set up an account with Big Interview, and you can watch videos, and then you can even do a recorded job interview. And then for an additional 7.5 points, you can go through practice job interviewing or mock job interviewing through ACC's Career Services, and all that's done online. It used to be done face-to-face, but it's all going to be online. Now, on the other hand, if you go out and interview and you get a paid CAD job and you want to submit that proof of interview and proof that you got a CAD job to us in lieu of these two things up here, we will accept that as well. But if you go to a CAD job interview, you have to be offered the job to get the credit for the 15 points. And so what usually happens when students do this is when a company hires you, they'll generally give you an offer letter. And so if you will email the offer letter to us, then we will give you the 15 points in lieu of the job interviewing options up here. We just want to try to make sure that when you leave here, you're ready to go interview, or that you've already found a job.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
That doesn't count if we already have a current CAD job, right?
Actually, it does. If you have a current job that you had to interview for, and you can get an offer letter, or do you still have your offer letter?
No, I don't. But
If you could get some proof from your employer, like an employer letterhead, saying that you have a CAD job and it's 40 hours a week or whatever it is, and get that to us.
okay.
Okay, that would be okay. All right, thanks. All right, I got this wrong. The final withdrawal date for the course is, can you help me out on that, Erlene? I think it's November 16th, but no, it's sooner than that. My bad. I should know this because I filled it in for my other classes. Maybe it's, anyway,
I think it's, I'll look at it and double check.
okay. I think it's maybe October 24th or something like that. That's the last day that you can withdraw from the class. But don't worry, we will let you know ahead of time. We usually warn folks when the final withdrawal date is coming up. So in case you decide that you need to bail out of the class because you've got too many things on your plate and you don't think you're going to get your portfolio done this semester, you can always withdraw. And the other thing that happens is at the very end, when we review your portfolio in week 11, the reason we review them in week 11 is because if you're not quite there, you still have a week to make the changes that we point out from your week 11 review. So you'll actually have that last week, week 12. If all you need is to be tweaking your portfolio a little bit, that's why we do the review in week 11, so that you have week 12 to complete your portfolio and get it back to us, and then you get credit. For students who get all the way to that point and they get to week 12 and they're very close but they're not quite finished, what we usually do is give you an incomplete. And so having an incomplete in this course would block you from graduating in December. So just keep that in mind. But that's your other option instead of withdrawing. If you know you're going to be really close, you could take an incomplete. Pardon me. So that's something to consider for you guys if you're running late at the very end and you're having trouble getting everything done. So we talked a little bit about incomplete grades here, but I've already kind of explained how that works. So just let us know if you think this is something that you're going to need to take an incomplete at the end. We don't like to give incompletes unless the student has like 90% of the work done, because it needs to be feasible for you to finish it, usually during the holiday break there, so that we can get your grade changed to a letter grade from an incomplete. And remember that incompletes turn into Fs if they're not completed.
Hey, Doug.
Yes.
The last data was kind of for our department only because we're on a 12-week session and other students are on a 16-week session. So if you look it up, you're not gonna find that date on ACC's website. That's the date that they've given us for our 12-week students to withdraw.
Okay, great. Thank you for finding that. So, yeah, our department is teaching the first 12 weeks of the semester instead of the last 12 weeks of the semester. And the reason we're doing that is our department is scheduled to move to the Highland campus over the winter break. And so we asked if we could teach in the first 12 weeks so that in November, the middle of November, we can tear down the apartment essentially and move it to a new campus and have it set up again in January when classes begin. Now, it's looking like we're still going to be online in January, but in the event that we're not online, we want to be set up and ready to go. And we have toured our new campus, and it's really, really nice. So it's too bad we didn't get to move in this semester. This was the plan, was that we would be teaching there this semester. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you? Yeah. Go ahead.
Hello. I can hear you now.
Okay.
Hey, these last, I have a CAD job right now also, but he's not giving me 40 hours a week.
How many are you getting?
I'm actually working from the house.
And so, but what are you getting? Like, is it 19 hours a week at least?
No, actually, since I started school, I haven't been for the past 2 weeks.
Okay. But do you think you will go back to work with him?
Oh, definitely, yes.
Okay. So here's the deal, and I think all of you guys should approach it this way. You know, the goal is that later in life or whatever that you're going to go out and interview and do well. And so I don't encourage people to skip doing the job interviewing training because if you think you'll benefit from it, it's probably better to just go ahead and do it. So I'll let each person who has a CAD job, they can decide whether they want to go through the training or whether they want to try to get the letter from their boss saying that they have a CAD job, okay? So if you can get something from your boss, Federico, and you want to do that, you can do that, or you could go through the job training if you think that would help you. Like if you know you're not going to stay at this job, you might move on to another one, then it might be good to go through the interview training, you know. So I'll let everybody decide what's best for them on that, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sure. All right. So we have this thing about work that's submitted late, but as I explained, we really don't penalize you as much, you know, with a grade as what we do is we probably give you an incomplete and you don't graduate that semester. So we're not trying to punish you. We're just abiding by the rules that we have. So the thing about academic integrity, you know this, that it's easy to cheat in a CAD course, and even on a portfolio, I guess you could, you know, copy somebody else's work and put it into a portfolio. And we're going to strongly discourage anyone from doing that, okay? And so you guys have been around for a while, you know all that. I have this slide in here more for my beginner students than anybody else. I want to scare them and warn them not to get caught cheating or not to cheat. So anyway, that's just included in there. We will have tutoring, and it will be online this semester. You guys may have used it in the spring or the summer. And there will be a tutoring link in Blackboard. And right now, the only tutor that we have is Rosanna. I don't know if you know her, but one of the problems we have at the start of the fall semester is that our budget doesn't come to the department until September the 1st. And so it actually takes us a couple of weeks by the time the budget gets here to get all the accounts set up and then to get all of the tutors hired and into those jobs. So we may not have a full complement of tutors for a couple of weeks here. We will have Rosanna, and she's going to be tutoring, I think, this weekend on today and Saturday and Sunday. Now, of course, she's tutoring more right now for other people, but other departments, not other departments, other classes. But I'm going to write a name on here. We have had a tutor. Her name is Amber, and Amber is not a CAD person, but what she is she's a graphic design person. So she knows Illustrator and she knows Photoshop, and she also has an eye for graphic design and all that sort of stuff. And so Amber is really going to be one of your better tutors for this class, because when you're designing what your portfolio is going to look like, we have this free help, and Amber's good at what she does. And so what can happen there is you can click on the square that has Amber's name on it, and you can look at the times when she's available. And then what you can do is have a one-on-one, and you can present your portfolio to Amber, and she can look at it and give you feedback. And she can give you feedback on like fonts and colors and borders and all sorts of stuff that goes into making a portfolio. Okay, so just want you to know that you have a special tutor just for graphic design and just for students in 1491. All right, I wanted to remind you guys to apply for your degree this semester. As I said, it's October the 4th. These are the degrees we're offering, and these are the certificates. And so if you qualify for any of those by finishing the classes you're enrolled for this semester, be sure and apply for your degree or certificate. Okay, so that's the first part. That's just the syllabus. Does anybody have any other questions right now you want to ask?
I have one more question.
Okay.
So this portfolio is going to be composed of just I'm in civil specialization, so will I be using just the DFTGs?
Probably what you'll do is open the DFTGs and print them as PDFs, and then you'll do screen captures from the PDF. That seems to be the best way to get high quality and high resolution out of them. So we'll talk about that more, but yeah, the first thing you have to do is have access to your drawing files in whatever format they're in, whether Revit or Civil 3D or whatever. And then you'll have to kind of experiment with what works best, whether it's printing them as PDFs, like I said. Then when you open the PDF, a lot of times you get really good, crisp resolution in the PDFs. And then you can use the snipping tool, and you can snip out the part of the drawing that you want to use in your portfolio. So I'm going to actually show you some example portfolios in the next section of this thing, okay? But that's a good question.
Thank you.
Sure.
I got a question.
Yes.
Yeah, for those who, because I'm in mechanical and I'm taking Bailey's class for Creo.
Yes.
I wanted to add that to my portfolio, but I'm also doing that class right now for this fall semester out. So how do we process that?
Well, have you taken most of the other mechanical classes?
Yes, sir. That's the only one, and your class.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what I would do. I think you could go ahead and take the course because you've got all the other courses in mechanical that you need. And so what I would do is talk with Bailey. And this is true for any of you guys. If if you're enrolled in just maybe one other class, talk to your instructor and say, how many sheets do you think we'll have in this course by the end of the semester? And tell them, hey, because I'm in the portfolio class, and the sooner I can get my work, the better. And so maybe you can get some of your sheets completed and get them marked up and get the changes to them and get them in there. But what you may have to do is just leave, some blank slots in your portfolio. Now, that's not hard to do when you're making a PDF, right? It's a little different when you're making a physical portfolio because you're just going to have some blank pages in your physical portfolio that later you'll put those other things into. But work with your instructor that you have now, and then talk to me or Erlene about it and say, hey, I'm in, maybe you're in commercial right now, and commercial architecture, and you say, I won't have these drawings till the very end. All right. Now, that's where I said if you're in 3 or 4 advanced courses and you're not going to have those drawings till the very end, you probably shouldn't be taking the class right now. Okay, because you're going to have a blank portfolio, and we're not going to sign off on a blank portfolio, right? So you need to have most of your work done, and plus you want people to look at your work and give you feedback on it. So you don't want to be putting this stuff in after the class is over and nobody ever gives you feedback or looks at it. Okay.